Good evening again, folks. Well, I'm sorry for the late day, or the late hour at which I'm shooting a couple of videos. But today was a very busy day in the world of Clue TV. We got a bunch of stuff going on. We've got our web designer who's putting a lot of clickies in, and we also had our interview with Trial Talk Live today, John and I, and it was a lot of fun. I had a great time. It was a blast. And thank you, Jarrett. Thanks, everybody. We love you. Anyways, so I was going through some of the case file on the West Memphis Three, and I was seeing how the knife that they found in the lake behind Jason Baldwin's house was not actually Damien Eccles, and it never was. It was Jason Baldwin's. And furthermore, because, I know a lot of people that have heard that little tidbit of information. Oh, well, so it was Jason Baldwin's. It doesn't matter. It still could have been used in the murder. The fact is that knife was thrown into the lake by Jason's mother months, like a minimum of months. I've heard up to a year. I'm still trying to nail down the date on that. Up to a year before the murders. So there is no way that knife could have played a role in the murders. Furthermore, the prosecution was fully aware that it belonged to Jason Baldwin and that his mother threw it in the lake and that it was in the lake since before the murders. They didn't fucking care. They kept moving forward with it. Fogelman, huh? Trying to get a step closer to the governor's mansion there, asshole? Huh? Fucker. So anyway, I was looking through some of the evidence, trying to find verification of this, and I came across this. Aren't you excited? This is an affidavit from Joseph Samuel Dwyer, who was a friend of Jason Baldwin's around the time of the murders. And, well, he'd been a friend of Jason Baldwin's for years prior to this, but then once Jason Baldwin started hanging out with Damien Eccles, he kind of didn't hang around him as much, but he was friends with Jason's younger brother, Matt. So he still spent a fair amount of time around Jason Baldwin at the time of the murders. And get this affidavit was taken in 2006. Not in 1993. They didn't talk to any of Jason Baldwin's friends or associates at that time. What kind of shit is that? Anyway, so this Samuel Dwyer says, before the three boys were killed and Jason and the other two were arrested for the killings, I had never even heard of Robin Hood Hills. I had never been to Robin Hood Hills prior to the killings. I had never been with Jason in the area of the Robin Hood Hills. I personally do not know of Jason ever going to Robin Hood Hills. I had never heard him talk about Robin Hood Hills. This is the part that gets me, though, folks. And in order for you to understand why this is so important, you have to understand the psychology of the criminal mind. And I'll explain this in a minute. Samuel proceeds to state, the only woods that I ever was in with Jason were those around the Lakeshore Trailer Park. There was a large wooded area around the trailer park. See, folks, the psychology of a killer is thus. If you're going to kill someone, you're going to do it in a place where you're comfortable. At least if you're going to kill someone in the way that these boys were killed. You need privacy. You need security. You need to know the area because you don't know the traffic, the foot traffic coming through there. You don't know the different ruts and all that other shit that could trip you up. And if Jason Baldwin didn't hang out in the Robin Hood Hills area very much, why would they choose that place to take the boys? Furthermore, whoever did kill them did know the Robin Hood Hills area very well, as would be evidenced by whoever thought to look there. Just a thought, do with it what you will. He then proceeds to say, I never saw Jason and Jesse hanging around together while Jesse and his family lived in Lakeshore. See, Jesse Misskelley Jr. didn't live in the same neighborhood as Damien Echols and Jason Baldwin did at the time of the murders. He used to live there, but once his stepmother and his dad divorced, his dad moved to another area and he went to live with his father, obviously. So if he didn't live around the neighborhood that he used to live in at the time of the murders, then how the fuck did he see anything? Interesting point, don't you think, folks? Not only that, but if no one was able to testify to ever seeing Jesse Misskelley hanging out with Damien Echols or Jason Baldwin, how did he see anything? I'm just going to leave that there. Jesse was what you might refer to as a trailer park redneck. The way he talked and acted was very different from the way Damien Echols talked and acted. Jesse was sort of slow to figure things out. You could tell he was not as smart as other people. So even then, people understood that Jesse Misskelley Jr. had some issues, had some learning difficulties. I heard that Jesse confessed to the killings of the three boys. I knew Jesse well. Based on what I knew, he was not the type of person who would hurt kids younger than he was. And Samuel had actually seen Jesse breaking up fights because he didn't want the other person getting hurt too bad. Does that sound like somebody that would chase down an 8-year-old boy and bring him back to 2 teenagers to kill? It doesn't fit the profile, folks. He then proceeds with, after Jesse's family left Lakeshore, I do not recall ever seeing Jason hanging out or spending time with Jesse Misskelley. If he wasn't hanging out with him, then how the fuck did he get involved? It's not something that just, happenstance. He then goes on to say, I was on the school bus with Jason on the day the three boys' bodies were recovered. That was big news all around West Memphis. Right after hearing the shocking news about Jason's arrest, I thought back to that day and remembered that Jason didn't look any different that day than on any other day. He was quiet and calm. He didn't look like someone who had just been involved in killing 3 kids. Nothing about him connected with that event as far as I was concerned. Jason and I had kept riding the bus to and from school after the 3 boys were killed until the end of the school year. He asked me to go with him looking for snakes and lizards shortly before his arrest, but I did not go with him. Nothing about him changed during that time. He never showed any signs that he had killed those boys or that he knew anything about the killings. I saw Jason frequently after the boys' bodies were found and before he was arrested. See, folks, this young man would be considered what is called in the courtroom world a character witness. He is somebody who knew Jason very well. They were very close. Their families were close. They used to spend a lot of time together. So he pretty much well knew Jason Baldwin's character, how he would behave, that sort of thing around the time of the murder. For him to state that there was nothing unusual about Jason's demeanor around the time that the bodies were found is very telling, because Jason Baldwin was, at the time of the murder, was considered a highly intelligent, very sensitive, and sweet boy. That psychological profile doesn't fit with somebody who would be calm and collected after the bodies were found if he was involved in the killings. He said, I did not see anything in the way Jason behaved or in what he said that would have made me believe that he had anything to do with the killings. This is where he gets to the knife. I remember he had a big knife that I thought of as a Rambo knife. He proceeds to go on that he was there the day that Jason's mother threw it into the lake. I arrived at Jason's trailer just after Jason's mom had thrown a knife into the lake. At the time, Jason's mom was walking toward the trailer from the direction of the lake. Jason was at the trailer and was mad that she had just thrown his knife into the lake. I remember that Jason said something about going to get it. The knife was thrown into the lake before the 3 boys turned up missing. I do not recall exactly how long before it was, but I remember that it would definitely have happened before the boys were found dead in Robin Hood Hills. I remember that after the 3 boys were found dead and the news cameras came out to Lakeshore from time to time, anyone wearing a Metallica t-shirt or some other heavy metal band t-shirt was viewed as a devil worshiper, especially if the person had long hair. It took a long time for that attitude to go away. During this period of time in 1993, I was generally known as Sammy. It says who he was hanging out with. But essentially, he also says in this statement that he was never approached by the police, and he was somebody that you would have approached as a police officer to fully understand the character of your suspect. And yet he was never approached by the officers. He was never approached by the prosecution. He was never approached by the defense at the time to discuss anything having to do with Jason Baldwin around the time of the murders. Somebody screwed the pooch on that one, folks. And it is further proof that there is no way that that knife had anything to do with the murders, even though we already fucking know that. I just wanted to clarify. Now, I have some excellent news for you guys. We are going to be able to download case files to Clue TV. Now, that's not going to happen for a little bit because our web designer is, like I said, doing this clicky thing. But every case that we investigate, we're going to work our asses off to get the complete case file, and then we're going to upload it to the site. So you will have unprecedented access, unlimited access to everything that we're seeing. You will be able to see. How does that strike you? All right, folks, I've got a few more things that I've got to research tonight. So don't forget to hit subscribe here on YouTube. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, Mama Phoenix 6. You can also follow us on Twitter, Clue TV Official on Twitter. And don't forget to head on over to cluetv.net. I will leave the link for this down below in the description. Thank you all very much for watching, and we'll see you soon.